How you doing today? Can you believe Dow 29,000? I think there was a book by that title when I was much, much, much younger. It might have been Dow 30,000. Anyways, Dow 29,000. Pretty crazy. Um, I just don't know what to say. We've been on a run of, you know, pretty much everything going our direction. We were kind of stuck in some negative headlines way back in October. They kind of unwound, and now we're 2020 is going to be a pretty good year. I mean, I've been saying it now for over a month, and we keep getting more and more evidence that that is very likely the case. So, a couple of things that I see. First off, Dow 29,000 really means nothing to me because I don't have any stocks, don't have any funds, don't have any index funds, none of that stuff. But what it tells me again for this channel is the consumer, right, which is the buyer of most homes, right, owner occupied, they're going to feel good. And it's going to be, positive headlines, and the consumer is going to keep spending, right? That's one of the things that I really track. And we've stepped away from pretty negative headlines, right? The trade war is coming to, knock on wood, a conclusion, signing on the 15th, I think I heard. We've stepped away from what could have been World War III if things went horribly wrong. It looks like we've walked away from that. And, just today, jobs report came out, kind of good, but not good enough, if you know what I mean. So wage growth, for example, came in at 2.9%. People were looking, since we have such a tight labor market, they thought wages would go up by more, right? 3.1 was the expectation. I don't see that as a bad sign, right? Growing by 2.9, because that just means the Fed, which is the other side of the equation that I watch, right? Cost of money is going to stay on the sidelines, right? If for whatever reason wages grew by 8% or just something crazy, that would get the Fed's attention, and we would certainly be in for rate rises if that trend were to continue. But again, 2.9 on an expectation of 3.1, pretty good. There was some news. If you look at it, everybody can look at statistics and see a problem. One article I read had manufacturing down. I think it was 12, might have been 18,000, and they were nervous. I'm guessing a lot of that is regards to Boeing, which we'll talk about in a minute. What I really saw was a market that's still strong. Right, we created 145,000 jobs in the last month. So I don't really see, my thesis stands. 2020 is going to be a good year. Uh, the Fed is going to be on pause, up or down all year. Uh, Real estate is going to be quote unquote bananas. Taking that again from the Tom Ferry interview. If you haven't seen that, check it out. It was a lot of fun. He has some great stories. And the only thing that's going to get interesting is late this year we have an election, and it's going to be toxic and nasty and all of that stuff. That stuff can affect the consumer, so I will be paying attention. Next up, Boeing. I'm wondering if Boeing 737 Max ever flies again. I haven't heard anybody say that. They all talking about simulator and trainings and all of that stuff. But I got to tell you, about 2 months ago, you can actually go back and look for the video. I said one of these days in the near future, there are going to be memos that come out about what Boeing employees were saying. And boy, have they started to come. The one that I found that was most damning, well, there was two. This quote is just nonsensical. It was designed by clowns and supervised by monkeys. Does that give you confidence in the airplane? Shoot, does that give you confidence in Boeing? Right? We are talking about something that could take down a very large company. But yeah, designed by clowns, supervised by monkeys. That's not good. But here's the real kicker. Apparently, one of their employees sent another note to another employee and said, "Hey, would you let your family fly on a 737 Max?" I wouldn't. Would you? Reply, no. What the heck are we doing putting out a product that is going to fly people around the world, and it is such poor quality you're not willing to put your family on it? Why was that thing released? Are you freaking kidding me? What are we doing? Hey, morning from Mountain View. Thanks for checking in. So I think Boeing's in trouble, right? They've already whacked the CEO. There needs to be some more public firings. Um, Frankly, to me, this could be a Tylenol moment. If you don't know, there was a, I forget when it was. I was really young. It might have been the early 80s where there was a scare. Somebody apparently had tampered with just a few Tylenol bottles, but Tylenol made the executive decision to take everything off the market, even though it was only a couple of bottles, but they made the right decision. They just took it all off. So I'm going to go on record right now, maybe the first person to say this, that Boeing, if they don't get ahead of this and just scrap the entire 737 Max, they'll be out of business. They're just gone. I know it'll be expensive. It'll be a huge write down. Their equity will get whacked. All of these different things. But man, the memos have just started coming out, and I bet they get worse. Probably get much worse. And if your freaking employees and designers and engineers wouldn't have their family on it, I don't want my family on it. It's just that simple, man. I don't freaking understand. And to that end, this strike or what strike, this shutdown of the development of that plane is now rippling through suppliers. There's a supplier, Spirit Aero Systems. Don't know who they are, but apparently they've been staffed to build parts, and they're now laying off 2,800 people. I think this is just starting. This is why manufacturing is going to be weak for a while. This freaking Boeing 737 Max needs to be canceled, right? It needs to be taken off, start over. Not good. And that unfortunately means some of their suppliers are going to have to take hits. And at least the first one I saw was Spirit Aero Systems, just looking at my notes. So, again, not good, right? Designed by clowns, supervised by monkeys. I'm not flying on that plane. And then they routinely mocked the FAA. They basically tried to bully, intimidate the FAA. Do you think the FAA is going to look the other way next time? This plane should never fly again. And we'll see what happens. Next up, did you see this big headlines that almost broke the internet about the royal family over there in the UK, I think, London? Apparently, the Prince and Princess of Sussex or whatever, basically the second son of Diana and the former actress, um, from a show called Suits. I really like that show. But anyways, um, they are going to step away from royal duties, split their time between the U.S. and Europe, and look to become financially independent. Uh, I applaud them. Do you know how much guts it took to do that? They're in a fishbowl over there with everybody taking pictures of everything, and I frankly couldn't live like that. Um, they just had a child, I believe. I think a son. So to make that really ballsy call, I think we should applaud them. As far as this being financially independent, I mean, come on. They're like one book away from being uber millionaires, even if they started zero. Can you imagine what that book sale would be? Oh my God. So, yes, they're going to be financially independent. It'll be curious to see if she starts acting again. Who knows? But I have to applaud someone, right? Looking to go out, how I read it, right? They're looking to go out on their own. They're going to do their things for their family. And they're like, forget it. And I don't know about you, but I applaud them for that. So good for them. And then the last thing, of course, I've always been very clear. If I see a headline with Buffett in it, I'm going to read the article. And this is one basically talking about emotional discipline. I thought this was interesting because one of the reasons I don't invest in stocks is I'm not emotionally disciplined. I get really, really excited on different things. Back when I traded stocks, I was horrible at it because I was just horrible, right? I would sell at the wrong time, buy at the wrong time. It was just not a good stock trader, so I will never do that again. But it was all because of my emotional discipline, right? I couldn't separate myself from the noise and the frenzy and all of that. And frankly, that's why I like real estate because it's not push of a button to sell or push of a button to buy. It's far more illiquid, and that is a huge plus for an emotional guy like me. So that's what I do. So again, I think 2020 is going to be a good year. I do expect consumers to keep on spending and buying homes, so I think it's going to pick up from here. It's really tight supply out there, so I expect prices to go up more than people expect. I do agree with Tom Ferry that this 2020 is going to be bananas for real estate. Created a bunch of jobs, 145,000. Wages not up as much, which is good news. Means the Fed's on the sideline. Boeing, Boeing's going to have to make a tough call, and I'm going to be on record saying this 737 Max should never fly again. Uh, and then again, applaud the couple over there in Europe for stepping away from the family business, if you will. All right, everybody, have a great day. We will do this again tomorrow. Say hi, Jim. Hi, Jim. All right, take care. Bye.